Hello to everyone, this is Vishal, and again we have another session of the day that's your Rxjava related. And I'm making these short videos for you just to learn that what's going on with the Rxjava, and we can learn all kind of aspects with that, and how can use these Rxjava in different aspects also. So let us start it. Today I choose this topic that you have to learn that how we can combine the two observables in Rxjava. So what happens generally, sometimes we need to consume data from more than just a single source. And that means if you want two different kind of observable, and we want to make a single one, that means our observer be a single always. So we need to combine these two B and put it on the main thread as in a single one. So that's the scenario of combining two observables. So you can make a different kind of ways with that. I will discuss, but today I'm just discussing about a first kind of combining. So where we need it, so is go for that. We have a multi-touch surfaces, news feeds, price feeds, social media aggregators, and where we need a two kind of files simultaneously, and put it on the sequential data. So that kind of stuffs we need it. So that's the way uh, of using this. And also we can see that if two sources to be processed together, or just consume the data from the first source that respond to the request. So if we go for the simple language of Rxjava, so we can say that if we have emitted two different observables and we can put it on the single sequence via observer, so that's called here a combinations of two observables. So the simple means is different observables, multi observables, and just go for a single observer. And we can say instead of waiting for previous stream to complete before requesting the next stream, we can call both at the same time and subscribe to the combined streams. So that's the way, and that's the approach. So if we go with the combinations, we have a two kind of combinations generally. One is a sequential and number two is concurrent. And number one is sequential means just if we have a two different kind of observable, and if we concat the ways of both, so that means that is the sequence. So the first sequential combination is your concat. So I will describe today the concat and how we make a small method for concatenations of two observable fields, and also be I will make it using the models, so where we need it. So let us start how we can do that. Okay, so in Android Studio, if we go for the combinations, so we'll discuss it. The combination is like if we have observable, and that observable be our first observable, and in that first observable, if I say that if we have observable dot range, and that range we want to 5, you just receive this on your maybe on your repository or whatever be, you can get that. And this is your observable, and the second observable you want it for the range. If you go, that's your 6 to 10, that means it emitted from some other source, but I want to show it on the single observer. So what to do for that, we have a first dot, and that's your method, that is a concat with, and the concat with I want with the second one. And the same scenario you can do that as we did many times, that's your subscribe on, and that's the schedulers. And I told you on the last tutorial that whenever you need some logic calculations ranges, you go for the computations and observe on, uh, that means I want to put it on the thread schedulers dot main thread and dot subscribe. So here we have a subscribe, and if you go for the subscribe, so you can say that here a subscriber, but here it is not an integer or other things be the, it is an object, it is a combine object be here. Okay, and also what I did many times and what we have done, that is disposable. Always be, you have to dispose it, but I'm not doing it, but you have to make a habit for that because of no memory leaks for that. And this is the on next, and on next what we do, just show that what be the values here, combine values on observer. Okay, if you have seen that live data observer, and if you go for the Rxjava observable and observer, there's some differences. I will make a video for that so you can see that differences between the observable of live data and your Rxjava. So that's what also, that is also be interesting. Okay, so last we can say that the values be here as a no, and if you want it, no, just true string, or otherwise I just using a O value. So let's see that what happen on when we concat the things. Then I will make a model values, and then how you can use that model values be there. Because of in many cases we need it, sometimes we have two different asynchronous calls, and we want to make it a combined of two different and want to represent on a single recycler view, or you want to show that on the list view, or whatever be. So that's the scenario. So I'm clear this and click on. So you can see that that is a combination of all the two. So but you can see that here count is 10 and here count is 5. So that means it show me how much 1 to 5 is this, and 6 to 15, that is a count 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So that means it is a count. If you count it as a 5, so it will show to you 6 to 10. Okay, so that is the counting. It's not a range for that, it is a count, how much count you the values. Okay, so let it, and that's good. Now making for the, as I have a model of book, as I think on my first or second tutorial of the Rxjava basics, I put it the book values be there, and get that values on your observable, and show it on observer. So the same model I am using there. I have a this book model, and many kind of models we have, but at this time using the, and I'm making a function for that, and that is just like if you have a observable, and that observable be a book kind, that's a string, integers, any kind, but I'm making a book kind model values because of I'm just showing to you how it be work. So this is your get programming books. I'm making this method, and I have to return that observable. Okay, and at this time I'm returning null, and in this case I have some values of books, just like I am using some book names be new string, and just put it some values be like Java, C++. So that's our book name, and I'm using some array list be private, or okay, it's a method, so I'm making this a final one. So this is our array list, and I'm making the same array list of the book array list, and that array list just call for a new array list. So whenever we work with this, that means we have two kind of method. One is your book names, and the other is your array list values. So if you want to be looping for that, so what to do is some general looping I'm doing, that is I string, and here I have a name, and that name be a book names, and just call that values, but I'm putting some values inside the book model, that is a new book, and that book be your book dot set book names. We have book type first, so book type is programming, and here we have a book dot set book name. So here we have book name be here name. Okay, so that's once to set the values, I'm just using the array list dot add, and I want to add this book here in the array list. So that's our array list of kind of book. Okay, and here now just little bit change, I'm just returning the value of observable. So that's be your observable dot, you can make it a different, but I'm just choosing on the same. And here we have observable on subscribes, as I did it on the first tutorial, and how we can use that emitter. So now the emitter be using like this right now. And here what to do for that, because of it throw the error. So again I'm just showing this value or emit this value, so I'm using that book, and that book be our array list, and that array list be I am putting on the emitter dot on next, and that's the value of book. And I will show you that how it operate. And here if you have nothing to do that, one more thing, that is if it is disposed we have to on complete, but I am not using at this time. I am just showing to you the values of on next, how it works. So here I am doing a subscribe, sorry, dot subscribe, and here the schedulers, just because of I just want be the operation of showing the values, so I'm using this scheduler IO. And the same thing for a method, second method. Here I'm using this get autobiography book. So autobiography books, just like say Vivekanand or Patel, likewise that. So this beta book, and this is your auto. This is our autobiography. So just changing these values, and the same scenario we have worked. Okay, so we have a two different of methods by you can get it from the retrofit or live data or whatever be, and I want to concat both the values in your observable. So what to do for that, here just make a observable dot concat. Here we have a get autobiography books and get programming books, both the values be here, and that be observe on your main scheduler. So that's your main thread, and that thread we need to subscribe. So when you subscribe, here you can see that the observer, so that means you have to dispose, and here I'm printing the value be log.d. Here my book name is book.get book name, and here you want to print it on the same also, but I'm using on the different line book type. And very interesting thing I will show to you here, because of it generally with the error, and I have seen in the Stack Overflow many users to doing this. So if you run that, what be the answer? That means if the concats the two values, two different observables. So that means once is your get autobiography books, that means the methods never matter. It works. Be like you can get it from the retrofit or whatever be. How you concat, that's be matter because of a single observable we work with that. Okay, it's very interesting. So now it launches, and if you run this, so you can see that it's showing me the half one. That means Vivekanand autobiography, Patel autobiography. What about that? The other one, because of it not completed. So for this, what to do? You just go for your emitter, and that you have to check that it is be there or not. So that means if it is your emitter dot is disposed, or you can see that otherwise you can directly call the emitter dot completed. That means completed be very important for that. Sorry, on complete is important for that. So you have to do copy and paste for the other one here. So let's see. So that's the scenario of working with this emitter, as I did it many times, that you have to, once you complete the emitter dot next values, then you have to on complete. If you want to check that disposed, you can check the disposed also. That's important. But once you have to work with the dispose here on your under the method, you must dispose the things because of memory leak. So I'm again saying many times these things to you because of very important, and that is the uh, yeah. So that's, you can see that here is the all the books be here, Vivekanand or Patel autography, Java programming. See, that means once completed, and the second, once the first one is completed, it show the values for the second one. Otherwise it never observe for the half. It's showing that it is not completed, so that means the second observer never comes on that. So what to do? You have to work with that. Just first you have to complete, and then it comes for the second observer, which is concatenated. Okay. So that's very important and interesting. So that's the small video just to learn that how we can concat the small one, and that is called here sequential combination. So in sequential combination, just concat is good one. And for the concurrent combinations, we'll discuss lot of methods be there, like a merge, like a your join and zip. So I will discuss on the second tutorial of this combination. So this is the first one, an interesting one. You have to learn for the sequential combinations. We have to work like that concat. So we have a concat with for the small ones, and we can set the concat for the observable for the whenever used to or create the observables by the methods. So if you call the methods, then use that. So thank you so much for the day, and hope that will be interesting for you, and we'll make a new tutorial for you. Thank you so much.